What's up, guys? So this is a video that I wanted to do just to kind of recap what ended up happening last week at the end of the week in terms of gold and what, based on that, what we can kind of expect for next week. Talk a little bit about what I plan on doing, on how I'm planning to trade the market next week, because I think next week is going to be a really interesting week in terms of gold price. So yeah, let's take a quick look. I think overall there was, you know, two key things that happened, right? Obviously, in terms of price last week, right? The first one, the very obvious one, of course, is that we finally broke out of 1800, which, is great. I mean, I've been bullish on gold for a while now, and it's really, really great to see that. Um, I just think that this price resistance was extremely strong. And now that we've broken it, I mean, I think even like the most bearish of people on gold can't deny that we're probably headed quite a bit higher at this point in terms of gold price. Just in line with also everything else that's happening in the world in terms of politics and the American economy and the way that other assets have been performing, there's no doubt in my mind at this point that we'll probably revisit the all-time highs at some point soon. And that's really important to note. The other key thing, of course, is that we finally also broke out of that weekly chart. The weekly downtrend line that we were talking about on the week chart, right? We finally broke out of it. I mean, super, super strong, as you can see here. This was quite a strong breakout. And that was very, very positive to see in terms of if you're a bull for gold, right? I think, obviously, I guess the main question you'd kind of want to ask yourself first is like, why did this happen? Because we were struggling so often to get over that 1800 mark, and then why all of a sudden, like in the last 2 days, did we really manage to kind of blow right through that? And honestly, I just think more than anything, you could just see that the bulls were just coming out more. I mean, I don't think anything in particular really happened to signal like, okay, this is the time that we're legitimately going to break out of the 1800 price resistance. But if we look at the 15-minute chart in particular, when I scroll back to that point in time, something that I mentioned before, which was starting to become abundantly clear, is just that we were getting these higher lows, and the higher lows were just constantly coming out, or constantly becoming more and more apparent. At the same time, at the beginning of the week, there was some economic data that came out, which was more negative for the dollar than I think people expected. So obviously, maybe that kind of pushed this narrative more of like, okay, like, like we really need to start hedging against the dollar and therefore putting money into gold. Maybe, but I think ultimately it was just like the bulls are strong. I think the bulls have been out for a while, and this was, again, just another confirmation. And I originally actually had some sell orders around the 1795 level, again, where we had previously seen, where previously was a really great time to put in a sell order. But once we actually started this sort of consolidation period here, let me just kind of draw this. I'll highlight it with a rectangle for you guys. Once we kind of started consolidating around this 90 level for a few 15-minute candles, I started to realize straight away, like, oh, this is a different time. And I quickly canceled those sell orders because I just realized that actually the market wasn't acting like it was before. Before we got that straight sell-off, this time clearly the sell orders weren't strong enough to beat the bulls, and I just knew that we were going to see a break of 1800 at that point, which we did, and boy, did we get that strong breakout. I unfortunately wasn't watching the market at the time, and I didn't have a buy order placed. That was a big mistake on my part, but congrats to everybody who rode that wave. And then we kind of got this sideways price action for a while before, again, we got another massive breakout when the non-farm payroll news data came out, and it was just so much lower than analysts expected. So again, another clear sign this week why you shouldn't trust everything you read in those stupid media outlets. A lot of the times they're wrong. A lot of the time they don't really know what they're talking about, or they're just writing shit for the sake of content. So that's a good lesson. Anyway, so what am I kind of expecting now for this week, and how do I plan on trading the market from this point forward now that we've broken 1800? For me personally, as this was really a confirmation for me that my bullish sentiment was accurate, and there's no doubt, like, I mean, we could potentially test back down below the 1800 level, but I just feel like this 1800 level was so strong throughout the last couple of weeks, and I'm just not sure if we're actually going to go back down it, to be completely frank. And at this point, I feel like there's a saying where you just got to go with the trend. And at this point in time, I just not sure like if it makes sense to really go against the trend at all anymore. The money, yes, you can always make money, buying the dips and selling the highs, and you can do this kind of pattern, but I'm not sure if this is really the market to currently do that. What I actually plan on doing, guys, is I'll probably start just stacking my buys and holding them. Like if I can get buys around this lower 1800, if we see a retracement from this 1830 level back to 1820, 1810, and so forth, even if we get back down a little bit to 1790 for a bit, who knows, or 1780, but I think this was a clear sign to me that we're going to continue this rally for sure. Like there's no doubt in my mind that 1900's on the cards. Maybe not next week, definitely maybe not the week afterwards, but I think at some point in the near future we're going to hit that. And therefore, any chance or opportunity that I get to set a buy order at a relatively good price, obviously keeping in mind the size of my accounts and making sure I'm minimizing my risk here, but I'm going to probably take those opportunities and just leave them. One thing which I could highly recommend, which I think is really good for beginner traders, and honestly I should be doing this more, I'm just kind of like a lazy asshole, but let's say you trigger a buy order at 1810, but you really want to make sure that you're minimizing your risk as much as possible, and the market goes up a bit, let's say from 1810, let me go to the 15-minute chart. Let's say you get a buy order at 1810, maybe it retraces back to the 200 here. You get that bounce up. Use your stop loss to move it up to a place where you're going to be breaking even if the trade goes against you. If you're not confident in the fact that it's going to go to 1900, or maybe you're not as strongly bullish as I am, using your stop loss and breaking even, if that triggers, there's no shame in that. You can just then, as it continues going down, start doing the same thing. Open. When you get the bounce that you want, minimize the risk on your position by moving up your stop loss to a break-even point, and just keep that running. Just keep it running, because ultimately the way that you guys are going to make money in gold over the next few weeks is not by trading these short-term highs and lows and trading in between little channels, like little channels that we were constantly trading at one point, for example, here or here, right, in this area here. No, at this point, the market's pretty bullish, and you got to definitely jump on the wave. So it's just all about where you get on that wave, right? Don't try and go against the wave. You're going to fuck yourself. I'm telling you that straight up. But anyway, guys, I'll look at more of the market tomorrow again. I'll also look much more at like what kind of data and what kind of things are going on tomorrow. Normally, I'll probably read the news as well in the morning and just check to see what we maybe need to look out for on that level, on that more macroeconomic level next week. But the gold price is looking interesting, and it should be a good time. So anyways, good luck trading, guys, next week. Cheers.